Have you ever wondered about those who dream of a better life versus those who create it? Are you waiting to accomplish your dreams and goals? Welcome to Create It Now. With your hosts, Jonathan Stowe, Dawn Elizabeth, and the business hypnotist, AJ Boyden. For the next 60 minutes, we're going to put your dreams into motion and create it now. The phone lines are open at 731-1230. That's 731-1230. Or toll free 1-866-820-5528. That's 1-866-820-KLAV. Now let's bring on the host and create it now. Here is Jonathan Stone, Dawn Elizabeth, and AJ Boyden.
Welcome to the Create It Now radio show. Today in studio we have a special guest with us who I've known for a little while, and he's inspired me to think about my lifestyle. His lifestyle has inspired my lifestyle, and I want to talk a little bit about that. And for those of you listening, if you want to join the conversation, send us an email, create@createitnowmedia.com, or find us on Facebook. And have you ever heard that saying, do what you love and you never have to work a day in your life?
Yes. I think it's a great statement. People have to find their passion. And once you do find your passion, I think anything you really do and put your mind to, it's basically just making things happen and working at stuff. But like I'm almost stumbling all over here. I could say it on air. No, it's basically, I find that so many people put in like 20% here, 10%, 30%. But when you put in your 100% into something you really want to do, then it doesn't feel like work. And if it's something you're passionate about,
and it's
like
easy
me trying to get out
do,
that sentence.
And you get to where you want to go without even almost realizing that you're even getting there.
Right.
Because it's so easy to go. When you and I first met, I don't even know if you remember saying this to me, but the one thing you had said to me was, you seem like you're putting 20% here, 30% here, 40% here, until you added up to 100 probably. And it made me really think about that. Like, yeah, I am going in multiple different directions. Which direction do I want to follow? And then after I did that, that's kind of how we found the radio show and found Create It Now Media. And it's been taking off ever since, putting in our 100%.
Well, good. I'm glad I got to change your whole life.
Okay, wait. Hold on.
No, you guys heard it here live. I changed Dawn Elizabeth's life.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, all right.
I
I'll
have
give
that
you
effect
that.
on people. No, but I think it's almost like channeling, which sounds kind of weird. But when you go with the flow, you know how you're in the middle of a conversation, or when you're actually speaking, you're on stage, and it just flows. And it flows really smooth, and it just comes out. And you almost don't even remember what you're talking about or what the conversation was, because you're channeling and flowing.
Yeah.
And I found that when I did stand-up and stuff, sometimes I wouldn't even remember anything that was what I said, but people seemed to enjoy it, which was a good thing. So that's that whole thing about being in that zone. I guess you can call it the zone instead more of a challenge.
Absolutely.
Channeling.
Yeah, and when you're doing something that you maybe don't necessarily love, that's when it's like, oh my gosh, I've been here for 4 hours, and you look at the clock and it's only been 5 minutes.
Yeah, don't we call that work?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, everything I do, I wouldn't call any of it work, because I enjoy every piece of it. There have been a time where I've had to work in order to get money, in order to do those things that I love, I wouldn't change that, because I probably wouldn't have the money to go forward with what I wanted to do.
Yes, work is not a bad thing. It's all part of the journey.
Absolutely.
And if you work hard, you will get results.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's also feasible to have a job that you actually absolutely love, that you can continue to do, and so that way you always look forward to getting up and going to work, right?
Right. But a lot of people have jobs that they don't love, but it's helping them on their journey to get to where they want to go.
Absolutely.
Hopefully, I think a lot of people also get stuck, and then they go, oh, I can't take this chance. I can't take the leap of faith. I can't make it happen, because they're stuck in that place where it's like, what's going to happen to me? And they get into their head and stuff. And that's one thing we try to get people out of, and to do is take action now. Not saying quit your job, just go cold turkey, but, put that extra time into creating your dreams, like maximizing your downtime instead of putting on the TV.
Absolutely.
Actually do something on your new career
Yeah. And there's this one time I had read this book that had to do with, you don't want to just quit. If you're not enjoying your day job, you don't want to just quit it, but you can work at your day job, and then every other hour that you have free, work on your dream, work on what it is you want to create, and build that to the point where you're comfortable, until you're to the point where you can't do both because your dream has taken over so much that it's now time to.
And you shouldn't treat your dream as a hobby.
Correct.
That's one thing that I find a lot of people do is they look at it and they go, oh, cool, this is a hobby. I'm going to see where it's going to take me.
Yeah.
You have to put in your desire to actually succeed and make it happen, or else you're just spinning your wheels. And then all of a sudden, as you said, 20% here, 30% there, 40%, and nothing what you really want to do is going to make a difference.
But too, going along with that statement about the 20% here, 40% here, I think if I hadn't done that early on and put myself into many different situations to find out what it was that I wanted, because I know for me, I didn't know where I wanted to go. And a lot of people are in that same piece.
We all do it.
And so trying multiple different things until you find what hits best for you, what you do really enjoy doing, what wouldn't be work for you, and being able to find that avenue and then focus in on it.
What I think a lot of people do is they do know. People know what to put in their desire into, put all their energy into, put their effort into. But then we go into our own heads and our minds and say, what happens if this doesn't work? How will I succeed? How will I be able to take care of my family? And we talk ourselves out of it, but we know our core desire. It's like if there's a baby in a burning building, your core desire is to get that child out of it. If you put that into any of your dreams and your hopes and your wishes, you'll see things will happen.
Yeah.
But it's taking that first step to actually make that stuff.
To do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that sometimes can be a blind leap of faith. You may have to do it, go for it, and see what happens.
Well, we did that with this station.
Absolutely.
And me trying to talk earlier.
Right? I know. It seems like every day you... No.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, you know what? I changed your life, and that's the only thing that matters right now.
I know. That's all you can think about now.
Yes.
Man, I wish we weren't recording this.
Yes. I know. We're going to actually put that into our commercial from now on. Jonathan, Don Savior.
Too bad your initials are JS, not JC.
Yeah, well, we can get that legally changed.
Okay.
Well, Jonathan Saint, though. That could work.
There you go.
Yes.
Yes. So after our break, we are going to bring on a guest that has inspired me by his lifestyle. When I met him, it was amazing how he's able to do what he loves all the time. And we are going to bring him in after the break.
Right. Well, why don't you actually tell us how he inspired you? So people actually kind of have a prequel to what's coming on.
Well,
who's coming on.
He gets to do what he wants, when he wants, all the time. He's always happy. He's always doing something fun and exciting. And it's just an inspiration to see that. And he is focused in on what it is that he wants to do. And he's always doing something new. He has new projects happening and completing them. And then another project and completing that. And people will take notice. And then it's just amazing to see. And I enjoy. We usually meet up every week just so that we can talk about it and he can help inspire me more and I can keep going.
Is he like your mentor?
One of them, absolutely.
Because I'm your savior and he's your mentor.
I was waiting for that to come out again. Yes.
It's going to be repeated throughout the whole show.
So after our break, we are going to have our guest on with us. So please stay tuned for that. Join us at www.createitnowmedia.com or give us a call, 702-731-1230. Find us on Facebook or Twitter at Dream It, Create It, and we will be right back.
Why wait to accomplish your dreams when you can create them now? It's time to put your dreams into motion. Create it now. Hi, this is Jonathan Stone with the Create It Now radio show on KLAV 1230 AM. Join us every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. We will help you move from a dream state to a create state. Become a part of a conversation on the Create It Now radio show about why some people dream it versus why other people create it. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. on KLAV.
Hi, everyone. This is New Media Vegas, your Sin City webmasters in Las Vegas, Nevada.
More than just web design, complete integrated marketing with inspired innovations in delivery of your new media message, putting the groove and the backbeat back in your brand.
The hottest in design trends with the latest innovations in marketing techniques. Call New Media Vegas at 702-517-0184.
Or visit us online at www.newmediavegas.com. Don't forget to check out our online magazine, Sin City Presents, featuring business, technology, fashion, dining, and entertainment news.
702-517-0184. 702-517-0184.
Those who can do. This is Create It Now. Here again, your hosts, Jonathan Stone, Dawn Elizabeth, and AJ Boyden.
Welcome back to the Create It Now radio show. If you are just joining us, go ahead and join our conversation on Facebook. Find us, Create It Now, or join on Twitter at Dream It, Create It. And today's guest that we have with us in studio, he was able to retire at age 47 from the day-to-day grind. He actually started off as an employee in the industrial first aid company before ever graduating high school. Then he owned his own business in the home care services for the elderly by his mid-30s and then retired at age 47. Now, Magic Al Jensen is a comedian, a comedy magician, humorist, and a radio show host also. And so let's welcome Magic Al Jensen to the show. Hello, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. Boy, that introduction, that's just the way I wrote it.
I know.
Excellent. That was awesome.
Yeah,
I can't wait to hear what I have to say.
The notes are next to you.
Okay, very good.
You remember we talked about the first half of the show. You're going to tell us how great we were.
That's right. That's right.
We had that discussion in the green room.
You just tell me when you want me to start that.
All right. So, Al, thank
Yes.
you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
You're always so busy, so I'm super excited that you can make it here today.
I'm super excited to be here, and I hope that I'll have a chance to come back again and do this again, because I love sitting in this seat and sharing information with not only you but the listeners as well.
Excellent.
Thank you.
So let's start off by talking about your life before 47.
Oh, okay. Let's see if I can remember back.
Okay.
So
before
let's talk a
you
little bit
retired.
about my entrepreneurial spirit, which started at age 8. How about that?
Wow.
Can we go back to that?
Absolutely.
I'll give you the details. When I was between kindergarten and first grade, I lived on a farm and suffered a tragic accident. Had a lawnmower accident, a riding lawnmower, which ran over my foot. And I lost the vast majority of my right foot. Spent 30 days in the hospital, came out, and had to go to first grade. And went to first grade without a prosthesis. Later on, I would get a prosthesis. But my parents were very, number one, sorry that they weren't supervising me and that this accident actually happened in the first place. But number two, were very supportive and encouraging and just said, you know what, this is a tragic accident, but you still have a great life ahead of you, and you really don't have anything that you can't overcome. I shamed them into buying me a pony. And I shamed them into spending $1 because I had a comic book, and on the back of the comic book was a little thing you could send away for a kit to be able to sell greeting cards. So for $1, I got this kit to be able to sell greeting cards. Now, I lived out in the country. I would jump on my pony and ride literally around the countryside. And that summer, between my first and second grade year, when I was about 7 or 8 years old, I sold enough greeting cards that I made, get this, $100 in commission. Now, $100
Nice.
for a 7-year-old today is a lot of money, and you don't know how much money that was back in the 1960s. I mean, that's when gas was like 15, 18, 19 cents a gallon. That was a lot of money, and I thought, wow, this is pretty cool. So I really caught the entrepreneurial bug at a very, very early age.
And had to con your family into giving you a pony to get
Well,
around.
That's
that
right.
kind of helps.
That's right. I played on.
So you were a salesman back then.
I was a salesman
So
way back then. And then actually as a high school senior, I was not really too much into the whole, sit in class and learn. I like to learn on the streets and learn out of the classroom. So I took a job as a life insurance salesman as I was a senior in high school. And actually, the year after I graduated from high school, I was awarded the 5th top salesperson in the company. Now, it was only 1,100 salespeople in the company, but I really felt good about that. And that gave me my confidence to know that all I need is my wit and my ability to go out and talk to people, share with them the benefits of a product that can help them, and really my future is in my hands. So I learned that at a very, very early age.
So you'd say that how you communicated with people was really what helped you excel in that business?
Exactly. Realizing that if I could show a prospective customer how they could benefit from the product or service that I was selling, that they would give me money and I would get a percentage of that. And therefore, I was able to provide for myself. It was the coolest thing ever.
Nice. So were you earning more than your high school teachers?
My high school on-the-job training teacher was actually the metal shop teacher as well. And he was he had to have a report every month of how many hours I was working and what I was doing, and he saw my pay stubs and things like that. I actually earned, my senior year, I earned more money than my high school on-the-job training teacher. Literally, after I graduated, he quit teaching and came to work for me selling life insurance. True story.
Nice. That's a great story.
True story.
That's good.
1978, that actually happened.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah.
And then after that, how did you get to owning your own business?
Well, I fumbled around in the floor covering trades for a while. I worked at a color tile store. I worked at a floor covering wholesale company, and that just wasn't terribly exciting. I answered an ad one day for a company called Respond First Aid Systems that was looking for a manager for their van service first aid company in Des Moines, Iowa. Answered the ad and was hired on and went out and proved myself as a salesperson, then was able to take over as manager. It was kind of a franchise kind of thing. We owned the franchise in Des Moines. We bought a franchise in Grand Rapids, Michigan, bought a franchise in West Texas, and I managed all these franchises, and we kind of took the sales through the roof. I made a name for myself and got an opportunity to move to the franchise headquarters in Denver, Colorado. And did some really good things there, sold franchises, trained franchisees, ran the national sales meeting, things of that nature, and ultimately was able to serve on the American National Standard Institute on First Aid in the Workplace, which is a national association of first aid people who actually provide feedback to OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, who actually write the safety laws for employers. So I made a name for myself there and did quite well working for a couple of different companies. Got to the point where I realized, I really want to strike out on my own. My parents were aging, living in Iowa, having a difficult time staying in their own home. They really needed to go to an assisted living facility, really didn't want to. So I kind of put the pieces of the puzzle together and realized that I'm going to take the money that I have and I'm going to start a business. And it was a franchise business called Home Instead Senior Care. I bought a small existing franchise in Southern California where we provided non-medical home care services to the elderly. Well, one franchise turned into 2, which turned into 3, and before I knew it, I had 150 employees, and we were doing several $1 million a year, and I was working 20 hours a day and just wondering, where my life was going.
Yeah, and a lot of times when you own your own business, you end up working more than what you think.
Yes.
Before you started. You think, okay, I'm going to own my own business, have all these employees, and I'm going to be able to sit back and relax.
They're going to do the work, and I'm going to sit in the pool and just enjoy
doesn't
life.
Work that way.
And, it worked that way for like 1 or 2 days out of the multiple years that I did that. But generally speaking, it was, up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning to get the day started and get the office open and ready. And then who do we have to hire? Who do we have to train? Who do we have literally that died overnight, and what do we have to do, and things like that. So it took an emotional toll, but it was very rewarding at the same time.
And then what made you decide to retire at 47?
Well, I had the wake-up call. The wake-up call consisted of my spouse at the time meet me at the breakfast table one morning and said, you know what, this isn't working for me anymore. I'm going to call it quits. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I did not see it coming. And she said she was a partner in the business, worked in the business day to day, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. And over the next several months, I realized that my health was suffering. I mean, my physical health was suffering. My mental health was suffering. And while I was making a lot of money and had all sorts of wonderful things going on in my life, that I knew I could not continue either emotionally or physically. So I, long story short, ended up winding the company down and breaking it up, selling it off to employees, and realized that there's a lot more to life than working 20 hours a day and making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. There was just an incongruity there, and I didn't like it anymore and said, you know what, I'm going to stop and smell the roses and enjoy what I do. I'm going to look forward to getting up every morning with a smile on my face, appreciating the fact that I woke up on this side of the grass, and just loving life. Because working in the elder care industry, I saw so many of my clients die with regret, and I didn't want to lie on my deathbed with regrets.
So let me ask you a question. Do you think all of that is what mentally actually exhausted you, because you saw these people passing, but because you were a caretaker and you had a business of caretakers, you actually had to be the master caretaker of all your employees as well. So you had your customers.
Yep.
Then you had your employees. So above that, you had twice as many people or 3 times as many people as you were actually taking care of.
Yes.
So there's a lot more responsibility than just being a caretaker. I don't know if people realize that. It's just not hey, we're here to take care of you. You have to take care of them, make sure their taxes have been done, and that's what the 20 hours a day.
Oh, exactly. Because I felt, and I still feel this way, that the way that I take care of my employees will be reflected in the way the employees take care of the clients. If I treat my employees like garbage and don't treat them well, and they have an inferiority complex, they're not happy with what they do, then they're not going to be happy going in serving our clients. But if we were able to create a nurturing environment where we loved what they did, and we gave them support, and we gave them encouragement and all these kind of things, then they were going to be able to share that attitude with the clients, which is why we were able to charge about 20% more than any of our competitors in the marketplace and get it all day long, because we established that we had the value, that our clients loved the care that we gave.
So the add value is extremely important. So you actually sold the company because you couldn't just let everybody go and all these people. So is that what
we couldn't? So I had about 16 people on my management staff. I broke it up and sold it to 2 of the managers, and they continued to operate it, and that provided me with an exit strategy and a little bit of income for a while. I also had a couple of companies here in Las Vegas that were kind of loosely associated with the home care services trade, so I basically moved to Las Vegas and continued to run those small companies.
Nice. So when did you move out here?
I moved here in 2005. In the spring of 2005, I actually tell people that I moved to Las Vegas to live a little closer to my money, if you know what I'm talking about, and I think that you do. So I wave to it as I drive by the Strip every single day.
Yeah, when you walk in, you're like, I paid for that chandelier.
Exactly.
I was going to say, which hotel did you build?
Yeah, many of them, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Many of them.
So when you came out here in 2005, what did you start doing? What part of smelling the roses did you start doing out here?
Well, I actually had a couple of small companies, one of which was called Veterans Care Services Association, and we were both a for-profit and a not-for-profit, so we played both sides of that fence, and we provided education and information to aging American veterans and basically helped them find government funding for their old age care. So I continued to run that business. It was much smaller scale. I had 1 employee in the office, and I had about 35, 40 different clients. So it was something that I could handle much easier on my own, and did that for a couple of years until the government changed some rules and regulations, and it just didn't make sense to continue that. So I kind of had a wind down, going from 150 employees and a couple hundred clients down to 1 employee and 35 clients. So it was kind of a gradual slowdown.
Yeah. A little easier to manage, right?
Definitely. I'm actually seeing a pattern here with you.
Are you?
Yeah. You are like the caregiver. I mean, from your first job, greeting cards, making people happy,
right,
to being in another medical field to being into the caregiving field, then to coming out here with caregiving and now entertaining people and performing for them.
That's right.
It's like you have an amazing heart. That is really wonderful. We're glad.
Well, and I give thanks to my parents for being an inspiration. I was adopted as an infant. My parents were not able to have children biologically, so was adopted as an infant, and just very, very caring parents. They, took me to church and instilled in me a work ethic and loved me to death. So I just felt that was my destiny to carry that tradition on.
Well, with your big heart, we are so glad that they adopted you as an infant, because if not, we were going to adopt you now.
Well, we could still talk. My parents have passed away, so I'm available.
You're looking.
I don't know if we can get you a pony, but we would do our best.
Nice.
That's good.
So what are some of the type of performances that you do?
Well, let's back up to 2006 when I met a delightful young lady here in Las Vegas who was an elementary school teacher. And she said, I'd love to have you come in and perform a little magic for my students in my classroom. And I said, oh, no. I'm afraid of kids. I am going to stay away from kids. I'm not going to do that. Well, she persisted, and I went in and did a magic show for her first grade class, and it went quite well. And I went to another first grade class, and ultimately I did about 15 or 20 elementary school shows for classes at her school. It went so well that I figured, hey, I might be able to make a buck at this. So I took out a couple of ads and hung out my shingle and said, Magic Al Jensen, kids comedy magical entertainer. And the phone started ringing. So I realized, boy, I can work, 2 or 3 shows a weekend, and I can make, some pretty good money doing this. So that was really kind of my inspiration to get into children's shows. And then by accident, I got an opportunity to perform at a nightclub here and there and start to do some adult material. So over the last 7 or 8 years, it's kind of been a transformation from ultimately performing for children to now really not performing for kids at all, but performing in nightclubs and theaters and even some cruise ship work.
Nice.
That's great. So what I like about all this is how you reinvented yourself.
Absolutely.
I mean, you just, from one complete, having franchises and then selling it and taking care of people to getting into magic and comedy. So what's really good for our audience is that, at any time they can make a change. They can make a difference. It's just believing. And what made you believe that you could do this?
Well, that's a really good question, and I know a question that you have asked of some of your guests in the past is, what's the difference between motivation and inspiration?
And I got that from a brilliant caller.
That's what I
actually
heard.
an emailer, yes, on Facebook.
That's what I heard. But I learned early on that motivation and inspiration are quite different. If you look at the root words of motivation, it's motive and action. So motivation is, what motive do you have to take action to drive you towards your goals? Inspiration literally means in spirit, or being in touch with your spirit. And I look at that as being in touch with my Creator, with my God, the person who is ultimately responsible for me being on this earth. And I believe that when you are in spirit, when you're in touch with your Creator and what He wants of you, then it makes decisions so much easier. I don't have to get up in the morning and wonder, am I going to go deliver newspapers? Am I going to go make pizzas? Am I going to start a new company? I just am driven by the Spirit, and that makes life so much easier.
But you would do any of those things for you to be able to continue to perform? I mean, because you have a love for it now. Is that your passion, your desire?
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. And there's months that go by that I don't make a nickel in terms of income from performing. Sometimes I'll go for periods I don't make any income from speaking, and that's okay. But I still pursue those things. Radio. I've been in radio now for almost a year, and I'm actually in the negative. I'm in the red. I spent more money, to be on radio than I have earned from being on radio. But I do those things because I love it, and I love getting up in the morning and knowing that I'm going to get to do something that I dearly love today.
Well, now that you're on the Create It Now radio show, your ratings are going to go through the roof.
I know.
I have to tell you. Yeah.
This is the big break I've been waiting for.
Yes.
Excellent.
I'm so happy we can give it to you.
Agents
Why don't you tell
call.
us the name of your radio show?
Well, I actually have a radio show called On Stage in Vegas, and it is the 4th Thursday night of each month right here on KLAV AM 1230. It is also on Vegas All Net Radio every Tuesday afternoon at 3 p.m. And what we do in On Stage in Vegas is we bring in performers, entertainers, producers, and directors who are making it, who are earning a living on stage in Vegas or around the world. And we're talking to them about the life lessons and the business lessons that they have learned along the way. The stick-to-itiveness, the internal fortitude, the never give up, the be nice to other people, kind of lessons. And we ask our guests to share those with us and make it available to our listeners.
That's great.
Very nice.
And if everybody stays tuned.
Easy for
hopefully,
you to say.
Exactly. Hopefully Al will do some magic on the radio for us when we come back from our break.
All right, we'll let them think about it over the break, and when we do come back from our break, we're also going to talk about different tips and tools people can use in their lives in order to be able to sit back and smell the roses. So you are listening to the Create It Now radio show. Find us at www.createitnowmedia.com, and we will be right back.
Do you really want to win? Listen to On Stage in Vegas to hear the life and business lessons learned from the stars, directors, and producers who make their living entertaining audiences in Vegas and all around the world. On Stage in Vegas with me, Big Magic Al Jensen, Tuesdays from 3 to 4 p.m. on Vegas All Net Radio.
We're blowing it out at Gene Woods Racing Experience, Las Vegas's newest premier outdoor adrenaline-powered gasoline go-karting track with speeds in excess of 45 miles per hour if you've got the balls. We've got 2-for-1 Tuesdays, buy one and your friend rides free. We've got $5 off coupons, and remember, on your birthday, members ride free. And they get a free Gene Woods Racing Experience t-shirt, open Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. till 11. Saturday and Sunday, noon till 11. And we're located at 121 East Sunset Road in Las Vegas Boulevard at the Sports Center across from McCarran Airport. Come blow the doors off your competition at Gene Woods Racing Experience. Once you race here, you won't go anywhere else. Be there. Be there. Be there.
Those who can do. This is Create It Now. Here again, your hosts, Jonathan Stone, Dawn Elizabeth, and AJ Boyden.
And welcome back to the Create It Now radio show. Thank you for listening, and we are here talking with a guest, Magic Al Jensen, who has had an amazing life. He's a salesman, he's an inspiration, and as we've learned throughout our show, a caregiver as well. And he is now a performer here in Las Vegas as well as around the world on the cruise ships. So, Magic Al, where we left off, let's talk a little bit more about your performance and where you perform. Where could people see you, and a little bit more about that?
Okay. A couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago now, I started doing some performances at the Cube Theater. I took a performer's workshop class where I learned about stage presence and things like that, because being a kid's performer, I would perform in the front of a classroom or in somebody's living room or in their basement, and I wasn't really so concerned about stage presence and all those kind of things. So I took this class at the Cube Theater from Christopher Chandler, who was a great instructor. I learned a lot of things about stage presence and voice projection and staging and controlling my energy and enthusiasm and projecting, things of that nature. And I did a number of shows at this Cube Theater. Now, the Cube Theater is a private theater, privately owned theater by Ryan Ahern, who has been an inspiration to me and a mentor to me over the years. But I've performed several dozen times at the Cube Theater for performer showcase shows, for birthday parties, for music videos, for fundraising events and things like that. I just love the theater. It's an intimate little theater, seats about 70 people, and it's always private events over there. I performed at a number of the major venues around town. for corporate events, some of the other showrooms around town. But generally speaking, I'm doing corporate events, I'm doing fundraising events, and when I do public shows, it's typically over at the Cube Theater. And if people want to find out more information about that, they can go to magicaljensen.com. That's my comedy magical entertainment site, and I keep people up to speed on where I'm performing, when I'm performing around Las Vegas.
Very nice. Thank you.
I think Al actually owns the Cube Theater.
I would love to own the Cube Theater. It's owned by
Right.
Ryan and Loli Ahern. Delightful, kind, generous, warm, loving people. And I cannot thank them enough for their generosity and making that theater available for me and my productions.
Yeah,
Very
it's
nice.
a beautiful theater. I've seen you perform out there, and it's lovely. It's great sound, great seating.
It is.
Yeah,
And
it's-
you've been on that stage too. We've shared the stage a couple of times over
We
there at
have.
the Cube Theater.
Yes, we
So
have.
It's a great place to perform.
Yes, agreed. So, Al, did you think about if you're going to do a magic trick for us
We
so
should
our
do it.
audience can see?
I would be delighted to perform a magic trick for all to observe.
Okay.
I'll have to describe. Okay, AJ, who is standing right now between the two of you, I'd like you to turn around, AJ. Now I'm going to place this curtain. I like to call it the curtain of death. No, AJ, don't worry about it. You're not going to die. But I want you to, and in fact, I want Mike too, our sound guy, to verify that AJ is in fact standing right up against the wall. We can see him. He's all of about 5'4", something like that.
Uh-huh.
So we'll hold up the curtain of death. Now, Dawn, if you'll say the magic word.
Ooh.
Yep.
Abracadabra.
No, it's Viagra Cadabra.
Oh,
That's-
Viagra Cadabra.
and bada boom, bada bing, we pull the curtain down. Where's
What?
AJ?
Oh my God!
What?
That's amazing.
Is he gone or what?
He is
That is-
gone.
yeah.
Completely
no,
gone. Now,
good.
unfortunately, I do not know how to bring him back. I'm still working on that. I'm still reading that chapter. And once I figure out how to bring him
We'll
back,
bring you back.
I'll
so
come
that-
back and make him reappear. How
All
about
right.
that?
Let's do it.
Thank you. That was quite amazing.
Wow.
Maybe he's under the table.
Nowhere to be found. No, he's not even under the table.
Wow. I'm sure our listening audience was amazed by that.
I think he should empty his pockets. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, he asked me to turn around because he's actually hidden behind me right now.
Right. So let me ask you about a few tips that you can share with our audience in regards to living that life that they enjoy and really making sure they're doing what they love, being able to find those things that they love. So do you have any tips or tools that you could share with our audience?
Oh, absolutely. The first thing they should be doing is listening to Create It Now every single day, because you guys are really preaching the message that I love to preach, and that is take action. Get out there and take action. In fact, I do a program, a corporate training program, and I've done it for a number of groups, where I talk about the guaranteed 5-step success to winning at every turn. Essentially, the 5 steps to winning at every turn are this. Number 1, plan your action. Don't be afraid to sit down and draw up a plan. But as Craig Valentine says, a world champion of public speaker from, I don't know, about 10, 11, 12 years ago, he says, don't get stuck on get set. Far too many people take too much time in the planning stage, in the get ready stage. Yeah, you got a plan, but jump into step number 2, which is take action. Create it now. Do it now. Don't get stuck and hung up on all the planning, because you're going to learn more from taking action than you ever will sitting behind your computer reading books and drawing up plans. Step number 3, once you've taken the action, is to evaluate your actions, because absolutely, even if it's the first time you've taken an action, you are, if nothing else by accident, you are going to have some successes. You're going to do some things right. Recognize that. Pat yourself on the back for doing something right. But don't be so proud that you can't look and see the mistakes that you made. Realize the downfalls, the deficiencies that you have, and list those down on paper. These are the things I did well. These are the things I didn't do so well. Then step number 4 is go out and learn whatever it is that you need to do to be able to do it better next time. If that's read a book, if it's to interview an expert, if it's to do some more rehearsal, take some more practice, get a coach, whatever the case might be, get the learning and be prepared for step number 5, which is, like it says on every shampoo bottle out there, lather, rinse, and repeat. Go back to step number 1. So take action, or plan your action, take action, evaluate your action, and then learn from both your successes and your failures. And I think that's what Create It Now is all about, is encouraging people to get off the get set and jump in with both feet and take action.
So when you talk about the evaluation step 3, a lot of times it's hard for us to see that in ourselves.
Right.
So how can people find out those different pieces if they can't really see them in themselves?
Well, it doesn't hurt to have a coach. I mean, we all have mentors, we have friends, we have people who are outside of the forest looking in that have a view of the trees. So don't be afraid to ask for help. I know in Toastmasters, when we give speeches in Toastmasters, there's an evaluator who says, this is what I saw, this is what I feel, this is what I felt. Here's what you might consider doing a little bit differently next time. So groups like Toastmasters can help you do that. Your friends, your mentors, hire a coach if you need, someone who can give you an objective opinion on what went right and what might need a little bit of tweaking.
And a lot of times it's not something personal. It's just letting you know what they see. It's that third-party objective.
Oh, exactly. And they have the ability to see things that you cannot see for yourself. You should always record yourself when you're speaking. If you're performing, you should always videotape yourself and take a look at that. And I know it's a really hard thing to do. It took me a long time before I got excited about seeing myself on videotape because, you know, I'm too heavy and I lean this way and I don't like my teeth and sometimes I'm not sure about my hair and my collar and how did you choose those colors and my God, that jacket doesn't fit. So, you know, you're so super critical of yourself. But you have to look at the things that don't go so well as the things that you did well, because you want to repeat the things that you did well, and you want to correct the things that that didn't work so well.
Right. No, I completely agree. But sometimes I find that we critique ourselves so hard that we have thoughts in our head that other people don't even notice or see.
Sure.
You know, I know like when I did stand-up and different things like that, I would say somewhere this didn't work, but it did work. Or I would worry about what I was going to wear.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody else really cared. But we do that to ourselves. We self-sabotage ourselves, and we're like, I don't know. But I think you look great on video.
Well, thank you.
I do.
And
I'm a big fan.
And I want to expound upon that just a little bit. As I was taking Christopher Chandler's classes, the Performers Workshop classes over at the Cube Theater, I would have video taken. I would actually have a professional video guy come in and he shot the whole show, and then I had my wife and another friend shoot video from other angles. So I had 3 different angles, and we would also have a photographer, and I would hire a photographer. So I would literally have hundreds of photographs and 3 different angles of videotape so I could look at it from every angle. And at one of the particular shows, I was reviewing the photographs, and I noticed that I had a scowl on my face. I didn't like the look on my face in like 99% of the photos. I was rarely smiling, and that really kind of troubled me. So the next time I did the Performer Showcase class, we had 8 weeks worth of rehearsal, and then we did the show. Every week that I got up on stage for rehearsal, I focused on bringing a smile and making certain that when photographs are taken that, you know, I don't know when they're going to snap the shutter, but I want to be smiling. I want to bring a positive attitude to the stage. And that one little thing that I noticed from self-evaluation, I think made a big difference in my professional performance.
Right. No, that's great. I think everybody should do that. Really evaluate what you want to do. And it's kind of like writing goals or a plan or taking a bigger look at what you've put together and what you're in the middle, what you're doing, you know.
Yeah. And it's having somebody else. I always come back to that just because it's almost like you don't want to hear it, but you know you need to hear it, you know, because other people telling you what, it's like, yes, I know this, but you need to hear it from other people sometimes.
Sure.
In order to start actually fixing
but
it.
You know when I speak because I'm your savior.
Yes.
It is
Oh,
the truth.
great.
Now, I have a network of, I'm going to say about a dozen or so other comedy magicians that do this professionally around the country. And once I have completed a show, I'll send them off some video clips, and I'll say, take a look at this. What do you think? Did it work well? And they are able to be very critical from a technical perspective and give me, you know, their professional opinion. So it is important to have people who are mentors, who are coaches, and people who are outside of the forest that can actually see the trees that you can't when you're in the middle of everything.
And I like how you say having the different mentors and people in the industry giving you those critiques. It's good to hear from everybody. If we go out and hear from 100 people, we need to be able to filter and see what we can use and what we can't use.
Exactly.
Because that having somebody in the business or a mentor or a coach, they're a little bit more focused on that piece, and so it's a little easier to take what they say.
Right.
So at Mr. Magic Al Jensen, we want to say thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I
Thank
love the
you.
Create It Now show. I had a great time.
Excellent.
It was a pleasure.
Tell us one more time how people can get a hold of you if they want to hire you for a corporate event or want to find you or your radio show. Please tell us where they can find that.
Sure. The comedy Magic Al Experience is available at magicaljensen.com. All of my performing history and shows and things of that nature with promo videos, etc., magicaljensen.com. As a professional speaker, as an MC or host, you can find information at aljensen.com. And my radio show on Vegas AllNet Radio is available at On Stage in Vegas. You can find that on Facebook, onstageinvegas.com, at Vegas AllNet Radio, and also KLAVAM1230.com.
And at the Cube Theater.
And I play at the Cube Theater quite a bit. I don't have anything scheduled at the Cube Theater coming up, although I think next month we're going to be doing another benefit show there.
I think if you check your answering machine when you get home,
Okay,
you can have quite a few messages from the Cube Theater.
I love
Nice.
it. I love
So
it.
Yes.
you can also find some more information about Magic Al Jensen on our Facebook page, Create It Now, or also on Twitter at Dream It, Create It. And we're going to take our last commercial break. So make sure you come back to finish with our conversation at the Create It Now radio show. We will be right back.
Have you ever wondered what's the difference between those who dream about a better life and those who go out and create it? Have you ever wondered what others do so that they can live the life of their dreams? Have you ever wondered what it is that you need to do so that you can live your dreams? This is A.J. Quaiden with the Create It Now radio show. Don't just dream about a better life. Go out there and create it now. Whether you want to take life to a new level or you find yourself starting all over due to the economy, listen to the Create It Now radio show Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock on KLAV AM 1230 Las Vegas.
Hey, it's Roxy from the 702 Rock Show, right here at VegasAllNetRadio.com. Listen to my show every Friday, 4 to 5 p.m. to hear about local artists, musicians, fashion designers, and more right here in Las Vegas. So tune in every Friday, 4 to 5 p.m. to hear me, Michelle Roxy Davis, right here at VANR on the 702 Rock Show.
Welcome back to Create It Now. The phone lines are open at 731-1230. Here again, your hosts, Jonathan Stone, Dawn Elizabeth, and A.J. Boyden.
Welcome back to the Create It Now radio show. Thank you to everybody who is listening, and those of you who are just tuning in. We have been having an amazing conversation with Magic Al Jensen about his life, his performing life, and how he was able to retire early and enjoy life and smell the roses.
Yes, and one thing I want to add, when you talk about being critiqued by people, a lot of people are negative and jealous and will critique you and say terrible things about you that you actually take personally. But as we were just talking about during the break, Les Brown used to say, you know, for every negative thing somebody says, it takes 17 positive things for a new affirmation to make you feel better. But don't take things personally. That's the most important part of this whole conversation is basically don't take anything personally. You know, take it in, absorb it, then realize what to do with that emotional feeling, where that connect is. But just don't take it personally. Don't let it, you know, one person can say one thing bad about you. I remember when I would perform and say there was 10,000 people, and if one person wasn't laughing, it would affect me. But even though the person might not have spoke English or they didn't understand, but I felt like I didn't make that connect. And so I would go back, even though if I destroyed, 9,999.
You mean in a good way?
In a good way,
Okay.
yes, in a good way. Destroyed in a good way. Because I'm a savior.
Right.
We already discussed that. I would reflect and like, why didn't that person get it? Even though, they might not have understood or it wasn't their brand of humor or whatever it was. So don't take things personally. Just keep going and pushing. And we joke around a lot here and think, like somebody like Al can have fun with us. But at the end of the day, it really is about making change and making people believe in themselves and in a fun way. You have to have fun. You have to laugh at the situation. You have to be able to be entertained.
And you have to have fun while you're doing it. As you're doing it, just about what we talked about all day today, about making sure you're enjoying what you're doing. I mean, there is some work that we have to do, but also have fun along the way.
All right. As Wyland said, the only reason I'm saying that is because Don's like, if you say Wyland one more time, I'm going to get really angry at you. But Wyland said it's okay to get paid for doing something that you love. And I think we all agree with that.
Absolutely.
And it's been an amazing show today.
Yeah.
And Al, you are wonderful.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a delight being on your show. I always enjoy being in studio with you guys, and I would hope that hopefully I haven't worn out my welcome. Maybe you'll let me come back sometime.
Well,
we'd be honored.
Yeah, actually, I was going to ask if it's possible for you to come back and join us and possibly be a guest interview with us here on our show once in a while.
Sure, I would love that.
Excellent.
Yes,
Good.
absolutely.
And I'll be going out of town again in a couple weeks. Maybe you can sit in.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So I'm
join in on the conversation
I'm seeing
more
some
often.
reciprocity here because I took July off
Right.
from my gig on the Sex and Money show here on KLAV AM 1230, and I took a month to go up to Alaska, perform on some cruise ships up there, and you sat in and helped do the interviews for me during that month. So I'd be happy to reciprocate.
Excellent. Thank you. We appreciate that. And Jonathan, why don't you tell our listeners who we have on tomorrow?
Tomorrow we have a very special person, somebody who's very dear to my heart, Alicia Skye. And yesterday I brought it up, but she had a double mastectomy at the age of 24. And her attitude, she is so positive. She's so wonderful. She just believes in manifesting positiveness and believes that you can actually make yourself sick. And she's going to tell the whole story of this whole journey she went through. And she's written a book, and she's done a one-woman show, and she raises a lot of awareness and a lot of money for breast cancer. And she's just an amazing, good-hearted person that has just fought back. And when she lights up a room. She's just it's brilliant.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Very cool. And then starting next week, we're restructuring slightly our different shows and have different segments for people to hear.
And be involved in.
Absolutely. And one of the segments that I'm super excited about is having to do with people who are currently taking action and making change in the community. And we're calling that our agents of change. And it's just amazing how many people out there are really creating change for their community, not putting themselves first, putting their community first, and things that they're doing to help others out. And I'm super excited about the people that have coming on over the next weeks, months. And if you do know anybody who would fit into that category, who's out helping the community, that you think should tell their story and come on the Create It Now radio show, send us a message. Our email is create@createitnowmedia.com, and let us know about it, how to get a hold of them, and what it is that they're doing.
Right. And we're going to also take a look back in history as well of some amazing people and some great people that have made a difference in the world, and compare it to what's going on now in society and what people are doing right now to make a difference, to make change in the world, and to better this place. I mean, there's a lot of unsung and local heroes that nobody knows about. And I think it's time that we bring them to light.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm super excited about our different shows that are coming up. I want to thank Mr. Magic Al Jensen for joining us today. Jonathan, thank you as well.
Thank you, Ms. Dawn Elizabeth.
That is all the time we have today on the Create It Now radio show. You can re-listen to this broadcast tonight at 11 p.m. on VegasAllNetRadio.com, or find the archived copy at www.createitnowmedia.com. And we will be back tomorrow, Thursday, from 3 to 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you don't want to miss it. So make sure you dream big, take action, and create it now.